Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Season 2. Season 2 of Rounding Third. We are your hosts, Jeremy Lapidus and Haden Raymer, bringing you all of the biggest baseball news. We might have missed an important baseball deadline in the last couple of weeks because we're busy a little bit, but, better late than never, right, Haden? Better late than never. That.
I mean, I guess I feel like it's probably a little bit, everybody's already had all the takes, everybody's had all the reactions, but it's okay. When are we ever? We're fashionably late all the time, Jeremy. That's our
All
that's
the
our thing.
time. And you know what? That's our real staple here, Hayden, at Rounding Third. We not only bring you the best takes, the most unique takes, but we're also fashionably late to all of this so that, we know that we're the best and the most right, of course, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to get into. Of course, the date that we're talking about, the trade deadline, it's come and gone. It's been almost a week at this point, so that's bad baseball talk on our end, but we will get better at it, I promise you. Let's start off
One
with the
day.
good because there's lots of good, there's lots of bad, and you know what, Hayden? There's also a lot of ugly for sure. We're gonna start with the good because there's two teams, Hayden, that I thought were really, really good, or at least head and shoulders above everybody else. The Mariners, your M's, and the Dads, the
Mm-hmm.
Padres. We were very interested, at least I was very interested in the Padres deadline. The Mariners, I think, just knocked it out of the park. Of course, Suarez and Naylor coming over there for the haul that wasn't really even that much. If you combine those two trades together, obviously the two trades did not get combined in real life, but when you're looking at what
Mm-hmm.
the Diamondbacks and the Mariners exchanged, I think the Mariners come out pretty happy with the way that went for the two players they received.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They didn't have to part ways with any of their top 100 prospects, though. With the swing changes and the setup changes Tyler Locklear made, you could argue he was probably there on that back half of the top 100 once we kind of got rolling there, just from a performance standpoint. But I mean, like I said, no top 100 prospects moved. You moved a couple relievers. I mean, I think the Diamondbacks targeted a lot of relief prospects. They got Juan Burgos. They got Brandon Garcia, who's a reliever. Ashton Izzy's a starter for them. But Tyler Locklear, he's going to be the big piece who's going to make an impact now for the Diamondbacks. But obviously the Mariners, they got the two best bats on the market. Both were rentals, so they're going to be free agents after the season. And they also got some relief help too, just to shore up that bullpen because like we said in our last show, every team would need bullpen help at this deadline.
Every team. And you can never have enough bullpen help because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. The playoffs are meant for arms. You want to have those elite arms
Mm-hmm.
back there. Can never have enough. But I thought the Mariners really killed it, honestly. If you take both trades into account, especially, they got, like you said, two of the best bats. They shored up the two positions they desperately needed to both corners of the infield there. What's the chance they re-sign any of these guys? Suarez, of course, has returned over to Seattle. Seems like he has some fond memories over there. Josh Naylor, his first time over there, he's been traded twice, looking for maybe a long-term home. What are the odds that these guys stay long-term, and what is it going to take to bring them in?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question. The Mariners have a lot of money coming off the books after this season. Mitch Garver is going to be off the books. You're not paying Mitch Haniger to be, nowhere to be found. They cut him at the start of the season. So I mean, there's a chance, they'll have some money free. Obviously, you're going to see players kind of get a raise with arbitration. I think Julio's contract has a little bit of an escalator here. Um, but I mean, it really comes down to ownership. Do they want to open up that pocketbook and sign those guys? I think they should. Ben Williamson, who is manning the hot corner for the Mariners heading into the season, or for the stretch here. I mean, he's all glove and no bat at all. So adding Suarez, who clearly likes it here in Seattle, like you said, spent quite a few seasons here and is a fan favorite as well. That buys a lot of goodwill with the fan base. Um, and I mean, when you look at the lineup now, Cal Raleigh, Suarez, Naylor, Julio, as like that four you build around, you have Randy Rosarena next year. You have Robles coming back from the IL. I think honestly right now talking about 2025 specifically, Jeremy, this is the best lineup in baseball.
The best lineup in baseball? Better than
This
the
is the best
Dodgers.
lineup in baseball. This is the best lineup in baseball.
Look, we can walk through this. You have a really good 1 through 6. You went through just about everyone. Shout out JP Crawford too. He's having a very good season.
Yep, great year.
That's your 1 through 6.
When he's your 8-hole hitter, man, like they have a really good lineup right now, man.
Look, you can talk to me about this being one of the best lineups in baseball, Haden. But you have to think about a lineup that is chock full of MVPs. I know Mookie Betts is not having his greatest season, but you have Freddie Freeman. You still have Shohei Ohtani, MVP level player over there.
Listen, if we're having a name level lineup, who's back with the baseball card before this season lineup, yeah, sure, I'd give it to you. They're not the best lineup, but they were a top 5 lineup in baseball heading into the trade deadline. They're top 5 in WRC plus, which will park adjust things because playing in Seattle, especially in that cold weather with that batter's eye, like their numbers are gonna be suppressed a little bit. But when you park adjust everything, they were a top 5 lineup, and you just added, like we just said, the 2 best bats on the market. Eugenio Suarez was like a 140 WRC plus guy. Naylor was well above average. I don't see how this isn't the best lineup in baseball.
There are plenty of other teams out there that can compete with the Seattle Mariners squad when it comes to the lineup, right? The Padres, which we'll get into in a second, also have a very good lineup. There are plenty of teams out there that I think, and yes, it's definitely one of the best in the league. You talk about top 5 WRC plus, which shout out the Mariners for that. I wasn't aware they were up there because of the bad offensive numbers they put up at home sometimes, but this is a very good lineup. There's no doubt about it. This is a Mariners team that, with this deadline, shot into World Series contention. I believe. Which no.
Listen, Jeremy, I agree on that, but I want to reemphasize this. Right? We talked about those positions were sorely needed. Ben Williamson didn't have a baseball bat. He had a wiffle ball bat when he was up there swinging. That's how bad he was offensively. And they've gotten barely any production out of first base. You might as well have Dom Smith out there for our Nats fans. You add in 2 of the best bats on the market, going from like nothing to a lot. I don't see how that doesn't take them into the best lineup in baseball.
I don't know. I feel like that's just a big hurdle to clear. They're up there. I want to see it. I want to see it lock. I want to see it gel. I want to see it go together, which it has been recently.
It hasn't.
They've been hidden. But
they already have 7 runs, and it's like the 4th inning.
Shout out the Mariners. Maybe they are the best lineup. Maybe they are the best lineup over there in little baseball right now. But I just have
it's a deep
time.
lineup.
Huh?
Their worst hitter is Cole Young, who's a rookie who is just now starting to put up good offensive numbers over the past month.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get rid of Dylan Moore once Victor Robles comes back, and Dylan Moore hasn't gotten a hit in like a month.
There's a lot of ifs though with what you're talking about.
What do you mean ifs?
If Robles comes back and if he hits, if
he gets more than 2 hits in a month, he's already an upgrade. Like, sorry for having such high expectations of Victor Robles. I know I should be ashamed, but he unlocked something when he was in Seattle. Even though he wasn't having a great start to the season this season, he was still, being a solid corner outfielder for them.
Yeah.
And you've got like Luke Raley on the bench who just mashes right-handed pitching. Like this is the best offensive core in baseball.
Cubs are up there. The Cubs have been really good offensively too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about the Cubs later.
We'll talk about the Cubs a little bit later. But the Padres too, because the Padres had a really interesting deadline. They made a lot of big moves. Are they all good moves? Especially the biggest one. They trade away top 10 consensus prospect Leo DeVries for Mason Miller and JP Sears. Now, a lot of the reporting around that trade has rumored that Mason Miller potentially moving back into the starting lineup. starting pitching
Rotation.
lineup rotation,
Yeah.
starting pitching rotation. He's not going to pick up a bat there.
I mean, he could. That would be impressive. Two-way? They're like, we have Ohtani 2 guys, all right? He can open and then also hit.
He could do it. How realistic is it that he returns to starting pitching, though? Because he's been a really good closer. Maybe not as good this year as in years past, but is that something that has to happen to make this trade worth it? Because Leo DeVries is really good at baseball, Haden. That's a big thing. That's a big player to give up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a little bit lower on DeVries than most. For me, he's probably top 20 prospect, top 15. So a little, not like crazy lower, but I'm a little bit lower on him. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Mason Miller start before. That's when he broke out into the league, was originally as a starting pitcher for the A's. The biggest question for him has been health. It's not about talent. That's why he moved back to the bullpen. It was just keeping that arm healthy, because it's one of the best and most electric arms in the league. As for do they win the trade if he moves back into the rotation? I'll say there's one way they could win the trade without him moving back to the rotation.
Oh yeah,
and that's bring a title to San Diego. The past 3 times a top 3 prospect has moved, that team has gone on to win the World Series. Yoan Moncada was the number 1 prospect in baseball when he was traded to the White Sox in the Chris Sale trade. Will Myers, top 3 prospect when he was traded to the Rays for Wade Davis, who was the closer for that Kansas City team that won it all. Lucas Giolito traded to the White Sox for Adam Eaton, who was the starting right fielder for the Nats when they won it all. So, I mean, that is one way that all trades, it's worth it. As for the other names, they didn't really move. I mean, they moved a lot of big names.
they've
That
got no
farm
farm
system's kind
system,
of,
Haden. Not a
it's
single
Ethan
farm.
Salas, and that's it. Who is having a down year. All those trades, like for like Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn, they didn't really give up anybody of significance. It's really that Mason Miller and JP Sears, who is an underrated aspect of that deal. That guy's a major league starter. Is he going to be a top of the rotation starter? No, but that guy's going to give you innings.
And the Padres don't need a top of rotation starter either.
They need a guy who's going to be healthy and be their game 4 starter. And that's what JP Sears is going to be for them.
Because that rotation, they held on to Dylan Cease, which starting pitching, actually, we'll get into here in a second. They held on to Dylan Cease. They still have, if Joe Musgrove can get back in time for the playoffs, we'll see. I know he's on the IL right now, but this is a team that has a lot of front end starters. Yu Darvish maybe can make a little bit of a comeback. I don't know about that.
Nick Pivetta is having a really good year.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys that they could throw out there as far as their playoff rotation go, but JP Sears, this is exactly what they need. Just a little bit of innings over there. But starting pitching, Haden, that was one of the big markets that was supposed to be available at the deadline. Instead, the headline of the starting pitching market, Shane Bieber coming off of a Tommy John surgery for him, and Charlie Morton and Matthew, and that's about it. I blanked on the Nats name. Excuse me, Matthew Soroka. Yeah, there it was. Those are the big Soroka, 3 that got moved, right? JP Sears.
Now you're messing me up, Jeremy.
Sorry, you can throw those guys in there. These guys were supposed to. It was supposed to be a big market for starting pitching, right? Dylan Cease, we touched on. Mackenzie Gore potentially on the move. Sandy Alcantara potentially on the move. Guys. Plenty more. Joe Ryan, of course, was rumored to be on the move, linked to the Red Sox a lot. Nothing was happening. We saw a lot of bullpen arms go. And as good as bullpens needed to be for the playoffs, you could use a starting pitcher or two, especially if you're a Red Sox over there or, maybe a Yankee over there. There were some teams that really could use a starter, and none of them really got moved. So what Haden, is going on in the baseball? Why aren't they moving?
I mean, that's a multifaceted question. For a lot of these rentals, right? You look at somebody like Zach Eflin were probably the two biggest names that are rentals that didn't move. You might think, or the front offices might think that, hey, we're not getting what we like. We're better off either extending these guys or trying to, give them a qualifying offer, and we just get a draft pick in compensation for those guys leaving, and that just might be better than the talent that they were being offered. As for the other guys, I mean, the Marlins, the fish are hot right now. Sandy, a lot of what I read was that teams would like an off season to work with him. Last season, we saw Trevor Rogers get moved from the Marlins for Kyle Sowers and Connor Norby. And, Orioles fans were like, why are we trading these guys for this bum? And he wasn't great for the rest of the season for the Orioles.
No,
But
he's not.
look at him this season. He's their ace. I mean, again, Orioles really bad team this year, not saying a whole lot, but he's having a really great year. And so most teams are kind of looking to make that kind of move for Sandy. Edward Cabrera, Gore, Keller, again, all different reasons. Ryan, all have different reasons why they didn't get moved. I think for Gore specifically, the interim GM, I think, plays a pretty large factor in that. I don't know what you think about that, Jeremy. Do you think like the interim tag had a big effect
I don't
on
necessarily
Gore
think
being
the
moved or not?
interim tag had a big effect. I think it's more they needed a lot. These pitchers that didn't get moved, your Sandy Alcantara's, your Mackenzie Gores, your Joe Ryans, these guys have your Mitch Kellers. These guys have years of control on them, right? These aren't necessarily 1 year rentals. These are guys that you're going to be able to hold on to for, in some cases, 3, 4 seasons, right? That's a lot of control, and it's going to take a lot because these are not your Andrew Heaney's of the world. These are not guys to just plop in for 1 season and let go. If you're trading for Mackenzie Gore, he's going to be a centerpiece of your rotation for the next 5 seasons, right? And potentially an extension. If you're trading for Mitch Keller, he's going to be a pretty big piece of your rotation for the next 3 seasons and potentially an extension. So it's going to take a lot for teams to part ways with these guys. And I just don't think the market was really offering as much as players were looking for. So as much as it being an interim GM thing, I don't know. It could be, but I'm willing to bet that if an offer that he couldn't refuse was there, he would have taken it. I don't think he's that worried about angering Nats fans any more than he already has, because they're not very happy with him right now.
Well, I mean, you don't think if the Padres offered him the same package for that Missy Miller got, you don't think he would have taken that?
I think he might have. I also think there's a chance it would have taken more. I know that's kind of a crazy thing to say. I know that kind of is crazy to say,
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
I mean, I agree with you. I think this was definitely a seller's market. I mean, you could just see it in just the Shane Bieber trade, right? You're talking about a guy who's coming off of Tommy John, is kind of a rental, not really. And he got one of the hottest rising pitching prospects in baseball, in Cal Steven. Merrill Kelly got a pretty big return, and he was a rental as well. So, I mean, the pitching market, there was, some significant prospect capital needed to move these guys. I mean, you saw it in the reliever market as well with the Duran trade. I mean, we'll talk about the Twins more, but they got a lot for the people that they did move.
yeah. I mean, speaking of the Twins, they moved so many people. They moved everybody. Half that
9,
roster
right?
is gone. Half that roster is gone. But they didn't move Joe Ryan, which I was certain was going to be moved, honestly. He was one of the few Twins that I was like, that guy's gone for sure. Somebody's going to, the Red Sox, excuse me, specifically, are going to offer a very good package for him. And Fox News broke it for a second that he got traded to the Red Sox, but obviously that did not happen. So let's talk about the Twins because they were very fat. I did not know what to think of this Twins deadline. They were squarely in the section, not winners, not losers, just because that's half the roster. Of course, the Carlos Correa trade is big. They move off of Johan Duran. lots of big pieces get moved from that Twins roster. What is going on in Minnesota? That's not full rebuild. It's like half rebuild. Is it going to work, and how quickly is it going to work?
Yeah, I mean, so the Twins are also one of those teams where there's the outside of the baseball roster factors playing out. You
Mm.
see, the ownership is looking to sell the team,
Yay.
uh, which that's been a heavy reason, or people have been reporting that's a big reason why they moved as many guys as they did. Obviously, there's a lot of rentals in there that they had to move. Willie Castro, Ty France, Harrison Bader, right? These guys, they were going to get moved no matter what. The Duran trade was a little shocking. I just thought the thing that surprised me most was the amount of relievers that got moved. And that's kind of where I got confused. Louis Varland has a ton of control left. Griffin Jacks has a significant amount of control left. And they kind of moved those guys. They did get a decent amount back for them, but it's still shocking. I'm not gonna lie, I like that they moved off of Carlos Correa. Is that a weird thing to say?
I don't know if it is, because Carlos Correa's been not his best self in Minnesota. He's had
Yeah.
stretches where he's really good, but he hasn't really put it together for a full season, whether that be because of health or because of the ballpark or whatever. But he goes back down to Houston, and he's had a lot of success down there in Houston. Houston needs another bat. You talked about how they were kind of bad in our last episode of Rounding Third when we were doing a preview of the trade deadline. I didn't think Carlos Correa was even on the trade table at all, honestly. So that one really came out of nowhere. That one was the really big move that had me audibly gasp when I saw that notification pop up on my phone. I was not expecting that one. But the Twins fire sale was a Twins fire sale. I guess. I mean, I am kind of moved by that trade. I am. Because I think adding more bats to Houston, especially a place where he's been successful, there's no reason why he can't revive what he was. But
Mm-hmm.
also, he hasn't been it for the last 4 years at this point. So there's no guarantee. I don't know. It's like the rest of the Twins. I don't really know what to think of this move because it was just so much. It felt like a feeding frenzy over there in Minnesota rather than we have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of it was just shocking. I think, if I remember correctly, Griffin Jacks requested a trade when he saw just how extensive this, the teardown was going to be. And it's just, it's just shocking, right? The Twins, they have the pieces where they could compete this season or like next season if they had a bullpen.
Right. But they don't. It's gone now. They've
But they
traded
don't.
it away.
They just traded their bullpen away. Um, they've got a lot of young arms. I mean, obviously, some of the stuff that they got back is helping in the fact that they could compete next season. Um, but you have Mick Abel and Taj Bradley, two former top prospects who they got in the return in some of these trade packages. And so, you have your guys who can slot into that rotation next to Joe Ryan now and Bailey Ober. You have basically a complete rotation for next season now. It's just now you just need to go out and get a bullpen. You've got three top prospects, all in the upper minors from a position player standpoint: Walker Jenkins, Emmanuel Rodriguez. I'm blanking on the other. Eduardo Tate, who they just got from the Phillies, all in the upper minors, where they could, make an impact next season. I'm interested to see what they do. Do they go out and go sign a bunch of relievers after, like, in this offseason? I mean, they're gonna have to, just to be a functioning
Competitive
major league
team.
team.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just, Luke Keeschel, who just got called up. He's, a hitter who just doesn't have a position. Luis Arias, kind of, who he started with the Twins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going
Yeah,
crazy.
he was
Yeah,
twins to Marlins
Padres
to Padres.
to out of the league. Yeah, no, they have the pieces where, like, they could be a competent roster next year. So, like, there's not all downside, if that makes sense. Like, it's not all doom and gloom
Right,
with
and
the
that
Twins.
that I agree with you on, because maybe this is just old school, ooh, look at this shiny player name, but they still have Byron Buxton, who, when he's healthy, is very, very, very good at baseball. You still have Royce Lewis, who, again, when healthy, usually very, very good at baseball, although down season this year for
Mhm.
him. Wasn't really expecting it. But, like, you have a couple pieces, the bats. You have Joe Ryan still. You have Bailey Ober. You have all these guys that are coming up. This is not a bad team by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination, but it's not a good team. Like, a lot of the things we're saying now, you could say about this Twins team at the beginning of the season, right? Minus the lack of a bullpen, right? So it feels like they're in the same spot, at least to me, which is why I put this as a confused confusion rather than a win or lose. Because while they gave up so much and while they got a lot, I feel like they took 2 steps backwards to take 2 steps forward, kind of thing, more than anything else.
Yeah. I think they're like I said, their lineup is on track to be significantly improved. It's just, like you kind of need a bullpen to be a good major league team. And I have a hard time seeing how they get it to contention status with how deep of cuts they made. Like they don't have a guy who could close. They don't have like any high leverage relief arms other than like, is Justin Topa good now? He's been okay in the past, but is he going to just be good now? That's the only way I can really see that happening. So Jeremy, I'm looking it up. Fangraphs has the luxury tax breakdowns
Mm-hmm.
just to see how like significantly how much payroll they've shed from these moves. This season, they're estimated to pay about $151 million as their luxury tax payroll.
Mm.
That payroll drops down to 66. If we're gonna round up, 67 million.
Wow.
Like they've shed a significant amount of money. Obviously, they had a lot of free agents after the season, and they still do with like Christian Vasquez. Willie Castro was going to be a free agent after the season. But Ty France was going to be a free agent after the season. But it's shocking how much they've shed.
I agree.
Yeah.
Again, this just I wish I had a solid answer, a solid take on this Twins team. I guess it's more negative than positive, but also this is a Twins team that again just felt like it was moving in neutral overall when we're
Yeah.
looking at it.
And I mean, I guess you could say like the thing we could think about it's better to make a move than to just tread water.
Right.
I mean, I guess it matters less in the expanded playoffs, where you kind of just like luck in the playoff appearances. But I think making a move, just from a outsider's perspective, is the right thing to do. Even if it's, hey, probably should have bought, or hey, maybe not have sold this much. Doing this should theoretically set them up
It's
on
better.
a
It's
path. They're
yeah.
on a path rather than just, hey, we're just sitting in the lazy river.
Right. It's better than nothing. There's no doubt about that. But like they're not terribly far out of a playoff spot in a weak AL, right? It wouldn't have been crazy for them to buy either. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Uh, and they weren't going to compete for a World Series this year. They're not going to compete for a World Series next year. They just don't have those pieces right now. They could compete maybe for a deep-ish run in the AL playoffs, but that's just because the AL's kind of bad right now. Like I don't know. I just don't love.
Is it though?
It kind of is.
I mean, I would say the Red Sox are a pretty good team.
Look, the teams that
I would
are
say
the
the
team
Mariners are a really good squad.
right,
I would say the Tigers are a really good team.
right, but in comparison to the NL, where you have juggernauts all over, the place. You got the Phillies
All over the
all
place.
over the place. The Phillies, the Mets, the the Cubs are pretty good this year. The Brewers are red hot. The Dodgers,
We
the
went from
Padres,
juggernauts to pretty good, pretty quick there,
juggernauts.
Jeremy. We went from
Fine,
juggernauts to
take out
they're
the
okay, I
AL
guess.
Central. Fine. The Phillies, the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Those are 4 teams that I'm taking above just
anymore,
about
Jeremy?
any of the AL teams right now. Just about any of them. Maybe you can sneak
we
one
call
in
the
there.
juggernauts? Can we call the Dodgers juggernauts anymore?
Yes, I can very comfortably call the Dodgers juggernauts because that's what they are.
Listen, because they just spend money.
Yes.
Okay.
Also because their players are very good at baseball.
Yeah.
They're doing this with half of their pitchers injured. More than half.
Yeah. They're a top 3 lineup in baseball.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They just don't have any pitching.
Right, but they'll get those pitchers
that
back,
are healthy, I
presumably,
guess.
when they get
that's
healthy.
the asterisk.
So very much, I would put them in the juggernaut category. I would very much say.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about another confusing move, Haden, because the Twins, while they were very confusing, they also, maybe the most confusing move that was made was the Reds trading for Brian Hayes. Because look, I like Brian Hayes. I do. I think he is a super fun and promising player, and I know you love your defensive players. I know you love your guys that can play some defense.
Yeah.
He cannot hit a baseball. He really just struggles with that. He's the best defensive third baseman in baseball, or he's at least up there. But
no, he's comfortably the best.
But the Cincinnati Reds could have gone out and gotten a bat. They could have added more. Instead, they settle for Brian Hayes and clean their hands of it. They're done. That's their whole deadline. What are they doing? Why aren't they really trying to build around this young core? I don't understand.
I don't get it either. So you and I we texted a little bit when this trade broke. And I said, and I'll explain my thought process here a little bit, because I can't remember if I did it over text. But Brian Hayes is a great baseball player to have. I love defensive guys. There's so much value in having a guy, especially on a team with some, great hitters. If you just have a guy you can punt on offense on and just have a, best in the league defender there, I think that's worth doing it. I'm somebody who's so extreme, but I would punt if I have good enough bats. I would punt on 3 positions just to have 3 great defenders, generational defenders at those positions. But trading for a guy like that's a guy who you go ahead, you sign in free agency on a cheap deal, you bring him up through your system. That's not somebody I would go out and trade for. Just because the bat is that bad. Like, he's one of the worst hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
Now, is he, what's the word I'm looking for? Booing himself from a value standpoint just by being the greatest defender in baseball? Yes, he is. But there's, we talk about like market inefficiencies and Moneyball and all that. I think it's a bad process to trade for that. And do the Reds need a third baseman who's good at defense?
They needed a third baseman.
But they have. I mean, Noelvi Marte was there. I guess, we're moving him to the outfield now. We've got third base prospects in the system. I'm just confused.
Like, they did need a third baseman, but the third baseman they needed was a third baseman that could hit. Because, I mean, that was the big issue. Outside of, really, I don't know who's really raking in that lineup, but,
you've got Sal Stewart, who was in AA. He just got called up to AAA recently. But that guy was hitting, he had a 850 OPS in AA. He's got a 944 OPS in 15 games in AAA. Like, I'd rather give that guy a shot than go trade for a guy who, again, it's not just the fact that we're trading for a, otherworldly defender. We're trading for an otherworldly defender who's making, what was it?
36.
How much is he?
36 million.
36 million?
A year.
Not a year, but 36 through the end of 2029.
Mm-hmm.
Spread out, he's making what, 7 million a year? 8 in those last 2 years. I mean, it's not it's not a lot of money in baseball, but for a team like the Reds, that's almost a tenth of their. We're getting up there where it's almost a tenth of your payroll is not a good thing to be paying this type of player for, in my opinion.
I don't
As
know. He
a
could also just be a
resident
guy that
non-GM,
needs a change of scenery. Because, like, when he came into the league with the Pirates,
he's had a lot of back injuries, Jeremy.
he was not this bad at
He's
hitting
had
the
a
ball.
lot of back injuries. Like I said, I just think it's bad process. I mean, I think, are the Reds a better team with him on the roster? Of course. But is it just bad process to trade for a guy with a history of back injuries who's maybe not worth paying significant, or not, significant for the team we're talking about, money to? Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like, I don't know. I know
If he
injuries.
can pull fly balls in, that ballpark, he'll be great.
Right, but like
But
you look at his rookie season, right? He hit 376 at an OPS of 1.124. 1,124.
back injuries will do that to you.
Yeah. He wasn't like forever a really bad hitter. It's just injuries. And I think he might be able to get back from it. Like, we've seen players recover from injuries and like this and be able to be good hitters. It's not unthinkable.
In 2023, I mean, he was a 271 hitter, had a 453 slug. He wasn't walking a whole lot, but he was just a tick above league average by WRC plus.
Right.
Like that's and being a generational defender at the position, that's a really good combination.
It's a really good combination.
That's an excellent combination. That's that's not even a guy who you hide down at the bottom of your lineup. You're happy to give that guy, $8 million a year, and you're like, man, we're getting a steal here. But when our guys, OPSing 574, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess we're paying you what you're worth. But is this the best way we could be spending our money?
I don't know. I just wish the Reds would do something with their core, like get someone to help out, as opposed to just being the odd man out. They're going to be the odd man out, the fourth wild card team for like the third season in a row now, because I think they're pretty comfortably the 8th best team in the NL. That's not a spot you want to be in.
No,
it's not. Like, it's annoying. There's so much that could be good with this Reds team.
I mean, that pitching staff's incredible.
But they're hurt all the time.
I mean, even with the guys who aren't hurt, you have Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, Chase Burns, Nick Martinez, and Zach Little, who they just traded for. Like, that's a really good rotation.
Right. So there's plenty of potential, but they don't do anything.
Chase Petty down in the minors?
They don't do anything. It's very...
Well, it's just they can't build a lineup. Like, the last time they had a good hitter on their roster, like a, elite hitter, I mean hitter, not like position player, was Nick Castellanos, back when he was like tearing the cover off the ball. Now their best hitter is going to be Ellie De La Cruz, and then there's like 50 feet of nothing, and then the next guy.
Right. Need help offensively. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Other things that don't make sense to me, Haden. The Angels. Haden, the Angels are bad, and I don't think they know that they're bad.
I think they're aware.
I don't know if they're aware, because they bought at a deadline that was a seller's market. A seller's market where they could have potentially shed a couple of those guys that are pretty solid on their team
Mm-hmm.
and gotten a nice little restart that they desperately need.
So, Jeremy, I'm gonna say one thing, and I think we're safe to move on from the Angels, and I think it's just the most encapsulating thing of the Angels. Their third base coach was coaching youth baseball not even like 4 seasons ago. He was a pre-game and post-game analyst who on the side was coaching youth baseball. Then the got canned because TV money. We don't want to pay these people anymore for marginal value to a broadcast. And then he was just then a youth baseball coach.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
I mean,
insane.
yes, did he have like major league managerial experience? Yes. But like for all intents and purposes, he was out of the league, It's you might as well go sign Javi Guerra to go throw some innings for them, like that's how out of the league they were.
I don't know. I don't get it. But that brings us to the Nationals a little bit because the Nationals gave them a couple pitchers. A couple rental pitchers too. Like
Relievers, yeah.
a couple rental relievers. But the
Yeah.
Nationals, Haden,
They're a better team.
they are a better team than
A
the
better
Angels,
team.
I think.
No, I'm saying they're the Angels are a better team now that they've added those guys.
You're right. They are a better team now that they got Chafin and Garcia. They are. But
Yeah.
how much better? Not enough better to really make any difference at all. But the Nationals, Hayden, the Washington
Mm-hmm.
Nationals are. I've lost my hope, Hayden. I've lost that sparkle, that twinkle in my eye when I talk about this Washington Nationals team. I held out hope that this rebuild would be done next season. I held out hope that this rebuild would be done this season. I held out hope that they would improve and improve and improve and improve. It's not happening, Hayden. This isn't a magical fairy tale world. They're not making good moves. They don't know how to do this. Hayden, help them. Take over for the Washington Nationals. And you know what? Why don't we just buy the team while we're at it so we can spend some money on players?
Yeah. It's a strange situation to be in. They're not in the bottom third in baseball in offense and runs scored, so we'll take our claps for that. And then they're very much the worst pitching staff in all of baseball.
Which is
Surely
crazy.
doesn't help. Which does not help with the past week where they've gave up like 75 hits in 4 games. Like they broke all sorts of records this past week. It was been really bad. But don't worry, Jeremy. There is hope. The barber returned to the major leagues tonight and almost threw a perfect first time through the order.
Wow.
And they won. They only gave up 1 run tonight against the A's.
It's true. I was worried. They gave up a home run very early in that game. And I was like, this is a Nats team that's given up at least 12 runs in 4 straight games.
Yeah.
Um,
Cade Cavalli's back though. He looked
back.
great. I know you weren't watching the game.
Sorry.
But his stuff looked really good. That Gio Urshela bat in the first, or not the first, it would have been the 3rd inning. It went on and on. I think it was like 13 pitches. That was kind of when he lost gas a little bit. But I mean, before that, he just it was like he was playing MLB The Show, on rookie, and he was playing as a 99 overall guy, like he was just carving that lineup. He wasn't even hitting all of his spots. It was just the stuff was just off the charts. I'm looking forward to after the show. I'm gonna go look and see kind of what his stuff numbers look like from the start. From an advanced metric standpoint. But I mean, the Nationals. James Woods slumped really hard since the All-Star break. CJ Abrams, has just always battled with consistency issues. Nathaniel Lowe, that trade has not worked out the way that they thought it would. Josh Bell has only recently become a major league hitter again. Luis Garcia is struggling to get things going. Dalen Lyle, can he hit? A little bit. Can't play defense. Can't play defense
He's not a major
at
leaguer.
all.
I don't
He's a major leaguer.
need him on my
He,
team. There's
he's
better
he's a major
options.
leaguer, but he's just like, well, he can't play defense. He's a DH at age 22 because he just can't read the ball. He's a left fielder, is what he is. See, the Nats also have this issue where they just play everybody in center field, and then they have to get and then they swap spots in the outfield once they get to the majors. And yeah, it's not like you're going from like being a shortstop to being a left fielder, but it's not like an easy transition by all means between the different, like the routes, the read off the ball or read off the bat is different. I hate that they do that. Yeah, it's bleak. Mackenzie Gores looks really bad in the second half too. This team lacks any sort of culture right now. That was the thing that like those old, perk of being the oldest team in Major League Baseball, pretty much when you win the World Series, is you have a veteran culture, and they don't have that right now. Josh Bell and Nathaniel Lowe, I think, are great people. They're not going to be guys. They're not here for long term. I don't think they're the type of personalities to kind of really pull somebody under their wing. Somebody who like Carlos Santana was somebody who I really wanted the Nats to sign this offseason. He's somebody who's like that, where he would have really been a good veteran presence, a steady veteran presence. And that's what I think this team lacks significantly.
And that was the one perk of Davey being there. He was the culture.
Yeah, but he wasn't Davey this season.
No, he was not. And he had to go. It was time for him to go because he threw the players under the bus. And when your job as a manager is keeping a culture and then you throw the players under the bus, you've killed the culture immediately. You've immediately done
Yeah.
that. That was the moment that I lost hope in the Nationals, actually. But it didn't really kick in until the trade deadline for some reason, when they just moved off of ancillary pieces. I don't know why the trade deadline ended my hope, but like, this core isn't enough. It isn't. Dylan Cruz isn't coming along the way that we
He's been
expected him
hurt
to. He's
for a
hurt,
while,
I know,
though.
but also when he was healthy, he was one of the worst qualified baseball players as far as hitting, right?
Qualified hitters, yeah.
Yeah, qualified hitters, right? You have CJ Abrams, who it seems like the Nats are signaling they're going to move off of with the draft pick of Eli Willits, and their lack of
That's not no.
and also their lack of just wanting to spend money in general. Like, I don't know if they re-signed CJ Abrams. The timelines work out where you bring him up and CJ Abrams leaves, which I would really hate to see happen. James Wood is going to be great.
Yeah.
But he's not going to re-sign with the Nats with the way that things are going. It's just it's bleak. It's bad. They need to figure something out, and they need to figure something out quickly. This is going to be a team that's going to be a basement feeder for the next 5-10 years again, because they just don't have a bullpen like always, but they also don't have the high-end talent to get around it like they used to. So,
should we save the Washington Nationals real quick?
we should save the Washington Nationals real quick, Haden.
Okay. So this offseason, the Nats, they're gonna sign either Christian Hedges or not. I'm mixing people. Christian Vasquez or Austin Hedges. I think they desperately need a veteran behind the plate to help guide this pitching staff and just help Kybert adjust. He hasn't had a veteran to learn behind at any point in his career, and I think that's instrumental for his development. Where if we are going to save Kybert Ruiz, that's the only way you're going to do it, is bringing in a veteran guy to for him to be, hey, Kybert, you're taking the back seat. You're still going to catch, 75 games this season, but you're taking a back seat. You're not the guy anymore. We need you to kind of learn a little bit more. You're going to go out. You're going to sign Andrew Chafin. You're going to bring that guy back. You're going to go find a veteran arm who you can bring back. I mean, man, go bring back Max Scherzer, You need to bring back a veteran arm to not headline this rotation, but to be a veteran presence. You need to do your research, do your due diligence. Who is going to be a guy who can help teach the staff, lead this staff? Because I mean, you already have your ace. You know, if Cade Cavalli is healthy now, yeah, I mean, you have 2, 3 guys in there who you can count on. I really like a lot of the names in the bullpen right now. You know, Connor Pilkington is just randomly good. Clayton Beater, PJ Bolin, guys who you can just kind of like would see if they can stick. Cole Henry, Jose A. Ferrer, great guys. Like they've got the pieces, Jeremy. You know, it's not all over. It's just they need a leader.
And I think a lot of it gets fixed with having a real manager, honestly.
A real coaching staff?
A
Yeah,
real
that
coaching
would
staff.
probably help.
I think that definitely helps a little bit. But right now, it just feels like everything's bad right now with the Washington Nationals.
It from a talent standpoint though, like they're not that bad. It's just I don't know. So I guess all right, you're talking about accountability, and it's not accountability from the manager. It's holding each other accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like I don't with like the way Garcia's been playing defense this season, I don't think he's being held accountable by his teammates. I think they're all just like, oh yeah, it's whatever. You know, like that's just I don't think. I mean, who is the leader on this team, Jeremy?
In the clubhouse,
Yeah.
I don't think there is one. It's probably like Doolittle or something, honestly. And he's a coach. So like
Okay, but like could you name 2 or 3 leadership figures on that 2019 team? 2019 team.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's just they don't have like they just need their guy. Like it's everyone's like, oh, the Jason Worth signing, the Jason Worth signing. It's you're bringing that veteran not to signify that you're here to, we're gonna try to win the NL East now. It's you have a bunch of young players who need somebody they can look up to, who isn't, no offense to Josh Bell, a solid major leaguer. You need like a Hall of Pretty Good guy.
Yeah. It's hard to convince anyone to come down to DC when they're not spending money, though, which is a
You
tough
should
part.
give
Which
them
is
a lot
why
of
the
money.
Jason
They'll
Worth
come to
deal was
DC.
so much money, right? They gave him what? 13 years? Like,
I think it was 13 years.
it was a lot of years, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot of years.
I know. Yeah, he was free agent 18? 17?
Something like that.
It was like a 6 or 7 year deal.
I thought it was definitely double digits.
I'm looking it up for you. You keep talking, Jeremy.
But like that wasn't like they had to way overpay to get him. They had to way overpay to get him. So it was definitely worth it. But that team also was
7.
7
year.
7 year. Okay. But still a lot of them that wasn't a move that like, really did anything, really propelled them any farther forward. Like he was good. He was really good for them, especially early on. But like, I don't know. That team was ready to compete. This Nats team is not ready to compete. Like at the end of the season before they signed Jason Worth, they went on a run there. They had guys that were really, really good already, like multiple guys. The Nats, this Nationals team is not that close to competing. If you go out and you get a Jason Worth, this team is going to be maybe a wild card team. Maybe a wild card team at best.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a step.
No.
And it shows they're trying. But, like, there needs to be more.
I agree.
Just simply.
And I think I found who they signed, Jeremy.
Who is that? Who is the Nationals' savior?
They're going to sign future Hall of Famer once he hits 500 home runs, Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber. Return to Washington. He was...
Return to Washington. I mean, talking about giving a guy a lot of money. Like, I feel like he was a big voice with the Nats when he was here.
And I think he would have... I think he put a lot of butts in seats. I think Nats fans have lots of fond memories of Kyle Schwarber. Butts in seats. Huge. It's a win-win. But you posed the question.
Go get him. Go get Carlos Santana. Those are your two veterans.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna keep beating the Carlos Santana drum until the Nats sign him.
He's like
I
42.
saw what he did for the Mariners in 2021, 2022?
Yeah.
2021. Like he's the reason why they made the postseason.
Yeah, but you posed the question, Haden, and we're gonna go away from boo-hoo sad with the Nationals. You posed the question: 500 home runs, Hall of Famer. Kyle Schwarber is the first NL player to 40 home runs. MVP potentially, probably not. But this is Kyle Schwarber, who just sits there and he hits the ball a bajillion feet away from home plate all the time. He currently is at 324 home runs. If you look at all the players, Haden, who have 500 home runs, I'll tell you how many there are. There's 28 of them. 28 of them. Of those 28, Haden, only 8 of those players are not in the Hall of Fame. 6 of them, it's because of steroids. 6 of them, it's because of steroids, right? You're talking Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, people like that who are steroid stuff, or at least alleged steroids. Yeah. But then the other 2, Pujols and Cabrera, just aren't eligible for the Hall of Fame yet, and they'll get into the Hall of Fame. I feel pretty confident in saying that. So 500, pretty solid number. How many players are going to make it from the active roster? We were talking about this before the show. Giancarlo Stanton's the closest at 439. He's 35 years old. I don't think he gets there. I don't think he has that many years of baseball left in him. It would take him like 2 or 3 more years to get there, I think. Just at the rate of his health kind of thing. And I don't think he gets there. Mike Trout's 103 away. And again, based on health, I think he could get there. But I don't know. You're looking at Manny Machado at 362, Aaron Judge at 352, and potentially our guy Kyle Schwarber at 324, who's got the most runway at this point with his power hitting and his age to get it done. But those are the only 4 players that I see right now that I can pretty confidently say have a shot at least of hitting 500.
Sorry, one more time. Can we just go through who you used to have?
Mike Trout, he's 103. He's 33 years old. Manny Machado is 32 years old. He's got 362. Aaron Judge, also 33 years old, 352 home runs, but he just hits home runs whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
And Kyle Schwarber, 32 years old, 324 home runs, also kind of hits home runs whenever he wants to hit home runs. So those guys have a little bit of a shot. Those are the 4 guys, active guys, that I think have any shot of hitting 500.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm just looking. I'm going through my list just to see who else could get there. I have another fun name.
Oh, yeah.
Who I have another person I'm going to add to this list. He's always healthy.
Always healthy. That's a big plus.
He's very young.
I love that.
And he's already been in the big leagues for a long time. Already has over 200 home runs.
Okay.
Juan Soto?
Are we talking about Juan Soto?
Yeah. I think he could do it.
He could do it. That's a long way to project.
I mean, yeah.
How old is he? 25?
No. He's 26, 27.
He could do
26. Turns 27 in October. Yeah, I think he could do it. Yeah, I think that's a good list. I mean, I think really it's the funny conversation is Kyle Schwarber a Hall of Famer if he hits 500 home runs. That I think is just such a, are we putting such an emphasis on this big number?
There's not a lot
we talk about 300 wins, we talk about 3,000 hits,
right,
3,000 strikeouts.
There's not a lot of big numbers in baseball that really stand up because no one's going to hit 300 wins anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't pitch long enough. It's not going to happen. 3,000 strikeouts, also probably not going to happen too many more times just because the arms are exploding really early nowadays. And that takes longevity and innings and all this stuff, although the stuff's getting pretty good. So maybe that's still in play.
The only guy who I would say even has a remote shot right now. How old is he? Yeah, the only guy who's not like ancient is gonna be like Zach Wheeler. And Zach Wheeler is 35. Never mind. The youngest guy who has a shot is Kevin Gausman. He doesn't have 2,000 strikeouts yet.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw some really young guys into the conversation if we're projecting like potentially a Paul Skeens, but like there's no one
That's
close.
so far out. Yeah.
He's so far out, right? He doesn't even have 1,000 strikeouts. So we're just probably not going to see it happen. There's not many big numbers left. And honestly, I don't think 500 home runs is like some super revered number. I think just to hit 500 home runs, you got to be pretty good at baseball, right? You got to be pretty good at baseball to get even close to 500 home runs.
I would say 500 home runs is pretty revered in baseball.
It's a big number. I don't think Kyle Schwarber gets in.
Really big number.
100% if he hits 500. I don't even know if he hits 500. I think it would definitely be the big thing that pushes him over, but I don't know if he's really close enough. Because the other thing with baseball is that it's a small hall, very, very small hall kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why it's such a interesting question, right? It's because everybody who's done it who doesn't have a steroids connection has gotten in, but Kyle Schwarber is such an interesting case where like I don't like, right, we're in such a data era. Kyle Schwarber doesn't even have 21 career WAR or F4.
Seriously?
Through his career.
That's crazy.
His 20.9 career F4.
Mm.
Which among active position players puts him at 45.
It's not awful.
Ozzie Albies has more career F4 than Kyle Schwarber.
That's
crazy.
Trying to
think who would be another fun player that you would think? Bobby Witt Jr. has more career F4 than.
I believe that. He just had like a crazy F4 season. He just had like a 10 F4 season or something like that last year.
Who's a fun, interesting character who you wouldn't think? Kyle Tucker's doesn't stand out too much. Is Brandon Nimmo? Is that a shock?
Brandon Nimmo
has more career F4.
That's crazy. That is kind of crazy.
You know, all these guys were like good for a while. Max Muncy.
Shout out Max Muncy. He's like 40 now.
He's got like a whole like 1 F4 over Kyle Schwarber.
Shout out Max Muncy.
Shout out Max Muncy.
But yes, to answer your question,
a top
Haden,
3, second best lineup in baseball.
To answer your question, I bet. Whoa, I bet that 500 home runs makes you a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
But who knows?
I think Giancarlo gets it.
You think Giancarlo gets it? I just don't think he's going to play.
I think Giancarlo.
How many years is left on his contract?
He gets released, and then he signs for the major league minimum, goes back to Miami, and just cranks out home runs. He's healthy. He's got 2 more years after this one.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think it
happens.
And
then a club option after
But let me know what you guys think. Do you think 500 home runs makes you a Hall of Famer? Let me know who you thought was the biggest move of the deadline. Let us know how right we are about everything we said in today's show. We appreciate you guys sticking around. Thank you for watching Season 2, Episode 2 of Rounding Third. We will be back inconsistently with more baseball talk, giving you all of the news from around the world of baseball. So stay tuned, stay locked in, and we'll see you at home. Bye-bye.